Welcome back, everybody. I am your host, Q Lynn, and this is Truth Be Told, where real talk meets raw faith. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about seeking validation and being unaware of seeking the validation. So, the Lord has been dealing with me about this over the past few weeks, and I've got a lot of notes. Okay. He has been showing me that I have been doing this unknowingly for a very long time. The first question you ask yourself is seeking, you would think seeking validation from who? Because in my world, I don't care what people think. I'm always the girl who dances to the beat of her own drum. I do what I want. I'm always the weird one, the black sheep. Like I'm just the outsider, right? Validation from who? Never cared. I show up online how I want. I show up in person how I want. I've never thought that I needed anyone's validation to just be who I am. That was so wrong. So I will tell you how it started. It started about my birthday this year. So I have always been a person who really feels strongly about her birthday. I would take it very personal when other people didn't do that, or when other people didn't show up for me the way that I wanted them to show up for me for that time frame. And so I spent so many years just disappointed every year constantly by the people around me. And then I said this year, let me go deal with that. Thank you, therapy. Right? So I like take it to God, because that's what I've been doing a lot lately. Everything goes through my source. So I take it to God and I'm like, God, what is going on with this? Why do I feel this way? And he said back to me, it's because you want their love more than you want mine. And I was like, what? No, that's not true. Because again, I'm still thinking about validation being from outside sources. I'm still thinking about seeking it from the world. I did not even understand that I was doing it with the people around me, the people closest to me, people who I care about, people who I love dearly. And so when he started highlighting these different things, then I took it to therapy. So now I'm trying to get to the root of everything. So here's the root. The root was the reason my birthday was so important to me and has become this thing that it will bring me to tears when people don't show up for me, right? It's like that because as a child, my birthday was never made to be a big deal. It was never made to be this important day. Yes, my mother has had, like, I remember, let me put that out there. I remember maybe 2 or 3 birthday parties that she threw me. But I also remember that every birthday I had to share my birthday. So I have a younger sister whom I love dearly. But growing up, we weren't the best of friends at all. We weren't the best sisters to each other. We had a very toxic relationship, and that's for a whole nother episode. Me and her will sit down and we'll talk to y'all about it. But growing up, my mom used to make me share my birthday with her. However, she didn't have to share her birthday with me. Moreover, if I got presents, she got presents. Wherever I went, she had to go. And it kind of just created this atmosphere where my birthday just felt like another shared day with someone else. It never felt special. It never felt like I was the only person that was being like, you were born, yay. And I took a lot of that into my adulthood. So fast forward, right? I could fast forward from 16, I threw myself my own birthday party. 17, I threw myself my own birthday party. 18, 19, and from there, it just kept going further and further. I would always take control and throw myself a party, or plan a dinner, or plan a party, or plan an outing, I wouldn't let anybody do anything. And then I would obligate people to show up for me. You my friend, right? You're supposed to show up for me. You my family, right? You're supposed to show up for me. It's my birthday. Because on the flip side of that, because I felt so strongly about birthdays, I would show up for everybody else, especially on their birthdays. Like, it would be a really big deal for me. Well, God had to sit me down and was like, so why do you care so much? And so when I started doing the work and digging up the root, it was like, oh, that's why you care so much. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter if they show up or not, because God showed up. He showed up when he woke me up that morning, right? He showed up when he let me have another year to celebrate. He showed up in everything that I was doing, no matter if anyone else showed up. So I just had to reshape my mind around my birthday. Yes, it needs to be a big deal. Yes, it is a big deal to me, but it doesn't mean it has to be a big deal to everyone else. And I need to respect that. If they don't feel the same way, or they don't show up as expected, it doesn't necessarily mean they love me any less. Because honestly, I don't think my mom loved me any less. I just think she thought she was doing the right thing at the time that she was doing it. Like she was doing what she had to do, or what she was doing what she thought was best, given the information she had, and given whatever upbringing she had. For me, that wasn't gonna work. So now I'm just in a space where I'm just trying to accept the fact that everyone is not going to show up for me the way that I would show up for them. And that's okay, because God made me the way I am and made them the way they are. He made me a person that cares deeply. He made me a person that loves to show up for my people in a way that feels natural for me. I'm also learning to step back and say, hey, how do you want me to show up? Because I know how I want you to show up. So, it's changed and shifted a lot of stuff. However, there was more. Okay. That's just the tip of the iceberg. How about that? Now, while showing me that I was seeking validation in this one area, he started to unfold a whole lot of other areas. And he started to show me that seeking validation was becoming my identity. And I was like, Lord, no, this can't be true. Like, stop it. Stop it. Because again, when I hear validation, I hear you care what everybody in the world thinks. And that is the complete opposite of who I am. And he kept having to show me it's not about the world, it's about the people around you. So now let's go back. Let's shift a little bit back further, okay? I cannot think of a time pre 32 ish, the right around the time that I moved to Florida, where I did not seek out everyone, like not everyone around me, but the people closest to me. Let me just put that, because there are a few, and they know who they are. I would have a thought, an idea, a situation arise, a problem, issues in my relationship, issues with parenting, and I would immediately seek out them, their opinions, their thoughts, their everything before my own. Before I sat with it and said, this is what I think about that, I would immediately call to have a conversation, call to talk it through, to call just, I needed their information to match my information, or I needed their information to validate my information, to validate my feelings, to validate what I was thinking about doing, decision making, business moves, all of it. In order to make the step forward, I couldn't move without it. It got so bad that I didn't even trust my own thoughts. And I believe that I talked about this before, where I was having trouble understanding and sitting with my own thoughts because I would seek out everyone else's opinions first, that it clouded my head so much that when I started sitting by myself and doing the work and sitting with God, I couldn't even decipher whether my thoughts were my own, were they the enemy, or was it God? Because I was so used to everyone else's voice being mine. Calling my best friend to get her opinion and then running with that. Oh, that feels right. That's what it is. And it just becomes second nature. You don't even understand that you're doing it. Because I'm thinking I'm just calling to hash out a problem or hash out something that I'm thinking about, but I never sat back to think about what I truly feel about it. I never sat back to really understand where it was coming from and why I wanted to call in the first place. Now, I'm not telling you not to call people. I'm not telling you not to hash things out with people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, have you sat down with yourself long enough to understand what you think and how you feel, and then maybe get a second opinion? And truthfully, the second opinion you should be getting is God's. And that should be the first one. Because if you're sitting with yourself if you're sitting with yourself, the next thing you should be doing is praying about it. God, these are my feelings. These are my thoughts. This is what I want to do. This is how I need to move. And then waiting for his response. And sometimes it's swiftly. The Holy Spirit will talk right back to you. Because I promise you, when I started asking questions about my birthday, it was immediate responses. Like, this is what's going on with you. This is why it's going on. And then it was more or less like, okay, so now that we're here, and now that you finally come to me with this thing, let me show you every other area where you're doing it, where you're valuing other people's opinions over your own, but more importantly, over mine. So much so that you won't even move on a thing that I told you to move on until you get the validation from someone else. But I told you that was what you were supposed to be doing. I told you to start the podcast, but you couldn't move on it until someone else said, I told you to start the podcast. I told you to stop working at that place, but you couldn't do it until it was the final moment. And also until you got the validation from somebody else. Or he told you to start the business, but you too scared and stuck in your own imposter syndrome that it's only when someone else tells you that it's a good idea that it's a good idea. Like there's so many instances where we can break that down. And I'm pretty sure if you know, you know. If you understand, you get it. Because you will literally talk yourself out of something before it even began because someone didn't agree. Because the person you love the most in the world, you take everything to your mom. Let's just use that example. You take everything to your mother. Cool. Moms have I'm a mom. So it's like I know I have experience, I have life experience, I have good advice to give, like lessons to give, all of that. But if the Lord told my daughter to do something and then she brings it to me and I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea because of my own experiences, but God told her to do it. Now I just talk that girl out of doing what she need to do because the Lord said do it. If he's telling you to do it, you don't need nobody else. You don't need nobody else's opinion. You don't need nobody else to tell you how to do it. You need to move on how he's telling you to move. You need to move in the direction he's telling you to move. Period. Like there's nothing else to it. So let's jump into my notes because baby, I got a lot of them. I had to sit with myself and be like, what is going on? What is going on? So I want you, I want this to help I want it to help whoever needs to help, right? And if you feel like you are someone who is resonating with this, here are a few things that will help point out whether or not you are actually unknowingly seeking validation, right? So it doesn't always look like attention seeking. Remember that, because that's exactly what I would think when I would think validation. I would think, oh, you want everybody's attention. It's like, no, that's not how I was doing it. It was often for me, it was reassurance seeking. So you're constantly asking for opinions before acting, needing agreement to feel confident, replaying conversations to make sure you were understood. Those conversations in your head that you're having them either before the conversation happened or after the conversation happened. The ones happening before the conversation happened are where you're having a conversation with the person before you even really talk to the person and you're making up in your mind how it needs to go. That is anxiety as well. Let it go. Stop. Get off the bike. Stop spinning the wheels about a conversation that didn't even happen, or you're making up a conversation that you're never going to have. And then you got to understand your thoughts become your reality. So if you constantly doing that, you might forget that that's not even a conversation you had, that you had it in your head. And now you're mad at the person about what you thought they would say, and they ain't even say nothing yet. Think about that. Then it's the conversations about that you have after the conversation where it's like, oh man, I should have said this. Oh man, I would have said that. Oh man, oh man. Cut that out too. Feeling uneasy when feedback is missing. Everybody does not have to give you feedback. You don't always need feedback. The only feedback you need is you and Holy Spirit. That's it. You don't always need feedback. Waiting for someone else to confirm what God already said. We just talked about that. If God told you to move, move. If God told you to stop and wait, stop and wait. You don't need to reconfirm or reaffirm or get a word from anybody else. Now, will confirmation come? Sure. You might hear it in the sermon. I don't know how God speaks to you, but for me, I might hear it in the sermon or keywords from prayers that's said by people around me. And I'm like, oh, okay, God. All right. Heard you. I'm moving in the right direction. Or wait, I need to stop because that's not the direction you want me to go in. And you just got to understand that if you already heard it from God, why do you still need people to agree? That's the main question you need to really, really sit with. It's like, why do I need the agreements of other people? Why do I need to be reassured by anybody that I'm moving in the right direction? And this is where self-confidence and identity come in. Because when you start like moving and banking on everybody else telling you what to do, how to do it, when to move, that starts to shape who you are and how you play out your life. Now, when these people no longer exist, who are you gonna count on? Say your friendship fails, parents pass away, siblings know you're not talking no more, or your family moved away. I live in Florida, half my family live up north. What are you gonna do without them? Think about that. I'm going to jump into why it may have been so hard to notice, because we think that if it's good, right? But that's not always the truth. They tell you everything that glitters ain't gold. And so validation often comes from good places and good people, which is cool, not for an everyday type of situation and not for you to always rely on that. So even though your validation, or you might be seeking validation from like your family, your spouses, your friends, mentors, voices that feel safe and familiar, just remember that it will slowly replace your surrender and who you're surrendering to. You won't even realize that you're surrendering everything over to everyone else until you are disconnected from yourself, until you really look up and you're like, who am I? Who am I without the voices? Who am I without other people's opinions? Who am I without all the baggage and the drop? Like, who am I? And you look up and you can't even give yourself you can't even identify who you are because you've been so busy surrendering yourself to everyone else. So what you repeatedly submit will eventually shape who you are, and it will shape your identity, and you will be lost in the sauce so bad. I feel like that's where I was. And I appreciate that I'm now in a season of becoming, because I feel more comfortable asking these questions to myself. Because the first thing I did was say, I had got disappointed by some people deciding not to come to my birthday dinner this year. And I really, instead of feeling super, uber, duper, duper hurt, because I would have, my feelings were a little hurt. But then I said, you know what? I need to go sit down with God and figure out why this hurts. Because honestly, it shouldn't. Will it be disappointing? Yes. You're a little disappointed. Oh, why are you not coming? And all that jazz, right? It's disappointment is natural. I feel like in life, like you're gonna have disappointment. But to be hurt beyond measure, that's where it was a little scary for me. And so this year, it was like, I feel safe enough to sit with myself because I trust myself now to say, God, why do I feel like this? Lord, help me unpack these feelings. Lord, why is my heart posture this way? And be able to receive the answer without it making me feel shaky, like I'm going to lose myself in the answer. No, now I'm able to process, unpack, feel my feelings, move through them, find the root, and then also sit in therapy and really talk about these things. I feel like that's sometimes the missing key, is that we'll get the root and be like that. Either we don't talk about the root, we don't really try to unpack it, we don't try to unearth all of it, and some of the remnants stay. And it's like, oh, I've changed, but not really, you know? Your identity, it's formed by the loudest and most trusted voice in your life. That voice needs to be yours. That voice needs to be God's. Those two things together need to be the only thing that shape your identity. No one in this world can tell you who you are. Only you can do that. And you need to be in relationship with God so you can figure out your true identity and what He put you on this earth for. Once you figure that out and you trust that voice and you're secure in that, everything else will fade to black. Once you have given over your voice to someone else, you start editing yourself to stay accepted. So you start basically shape shifting yourself to be in rooms with people or around people because of what they say or what they want to do and how they want to do it versus being your raw, true self. You shrink or perform depending on the room, okay, or the people in it. You soften convictions to avoid conflict. So, for instance, I have not been drinking, right? And I went to go visit my friend for her birthday, and everybody around me was drinking. I knew that the question would come up. I knew that they would ask, why are you not drinking? What's going on with you? What are you doing? And when they did, it didn't feel so hard to just be like, because I said so, or because God told me not to. It felt more empowering to just be like, you do that and I do this. And that's that. But once upon a time, I would shape shift into like, you know what? I could just do it right now. Like, it's not going to kill me to do it for the weekend and then go back to not doing it. And I would be doing it for someone else because someone else's opinion was shaping what I was trying to do. No, that's not how we do it no more. So you delay obedience until it feels safe. That's that I'm going to wait until someone tells me to do this to do it. That's that I'm going to follow your opinion and your voice versus my own. And then you confuse peace with approval. So if you don't get approved by your friends or the people around you in they're not telling you that this is it and this is what you should be doing, then you don't feel peace about it. It's like you're in turmoil over decisions that you're trying to make, when really you should just be sitting with them and making those decisions based upon what God told you. So when validation becomes idolatry, that's when you know you're in trouble. And I feel like I was on my way to that. And that was simply because I was really truly valuing the opinions of the people around me over my own and over what God was telling me. And I was doing it in a way, I had been doing it for so long. I have been doing it since before my relationship with God. That's why it just was second nature, where I couldn't see that it was validation seeking. I couldn't even see that it was turning into an idol, because I am literally giving everybody else's opinion more power over me than I am God's. That to me now as the person I am sitting here in front of you today, it's like, that is insane. I could never, would never, am never. And I'm just so happy that we have worked this out so that I can understand it and that I can stop doing it. Understanding now what it is and how to maneuver through it, it's been eye-opening, and it helps me move in a way where I don't feel like I'm doing something wrong against anyone. I feel safe and secure in myself, and safe and secure in the things that God has told me to do and how I'm going to do them. Anything else is kind of like, oh, that's your opinion. That's cool. It's cool. If it goes against what I'm feeling, it's like, I hear what you're saying, and that's cool. I also am in a space where I'm not going to speak to anybody about anything that they have not already themselves been through. I don't speak to unmarried people about marriage. We don't have nothing to talk about. I don't really dabble in speaking to people who don't have children about parenting. Two different worlds. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you haven't run a business, I'm probably not going to talk to you about business. If you aren't in the hair industry or haven't been in the entertainment industry, like, we can converse about it, but there's no world where I'm seeking opinions from you about these things if you've never been in the situation, because there's nothing you can tell me. You're not having the same experience as me. And when I started to shape that around, like, that shift helps a whole lot with understanding that I don't need your opinion. The only opinion I need is my own, and the one that comes from my source. Taking everything back to my source has been relieving. It has been refreshing. It has been a way to give me the reassurance that I needed, that everything that I'm doing is the way it's supposed to be done. Okay. And even when I miss the mark, that he's still there to pick me back up and say, okay, come on now, let's go on this way, because I told you we were supposed to go this way in the first place. Okay. Some of the things that I feel like I thought about idolatry was statues, or submitting myself to other gods, not understanding that you can make a god out of a thing. And one of the places that he showed me that I was seeking validation, but not from outside sources, from within myself, above what he was saying about me, was the gym. And that one hit hard, because you would think, oh, I'm going to the gym for myself. I'm going to the gym to steward my body. I'm going to the gym because of this, and this. At first, it did start that way. And then it became an idol over my time with God. Like, it's so hard to talk about this, because I feel so, I feel so bad about it, if that makes sense. Because the gym is where God started talking to me. It's where he started to move in my life. It's where I started to meet him again. And then he started meeting me in other places. So the gym it's like, it was my first church. So for me to have made an idol out of it kind of hurts my own feelings, because that's not what I wanted to do. And that's not ever what I wanted to happen. And he started showing me that I was spending more time worrying about showing up in the gym and how I looked and what I was eating and just all these things, because I'm thinking I'm stewarding my body right. But the truth of the matter is, yes, I was doing that, and I was doing the things that I'm supposed to do to steward my body well, but it was getting in the way of my time with him, because there were days where I would actually choose to get up and go to the gym, because I had a day full of things to do. I would choose to get up and go to the gym over stopping and reading my Bible, over stopping and having my 30 minutes of quiet time with him, or 15 minutes, or whatever. I would choose the gym because I'm like, I have to go. I have to steward this body well. I have to go. And he's like, no, you need to spend time with me. That is the priority. And once he started to show me that, and he started to show me how I was making an idol out of the gym, is how it also started to unfold about everything else. Because it started with the questions about my birthday, which led into the gym, which led into the people around me. And I was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. This whole time, God, like, why you ain't checked me before? And a lot of the time he would just sit back and say, I needed you to get here. Because it wasn't about checking me about it, because it's not that he doesn't want me to go to the gym. He didn't want to stop me from doing this thing. He just wanted to show me how I was showing up with him and this thing, like how I was putting that thing ahead of him, where he's like, no, it's me first, then all these other things. So, child, when he dealt with me about that, I wanted to cry. I was like, not my safe place, not me making an idol out of my safe place. And he was like, yeah. And now that you know, you'll do better, right? Because when you can't do better if you don't know. So when you know, you know. And I want to talk about how we fall into the idolatry of different things, and it can be by accident, because we think that we're God loving and Christians, and we're doing this, and I'm reading my Bible, I'm doing this, and still can make an idol out of a thing. So a lot of it comes from who gets the final say in your decisions. Who do you fear disappointing the most? Whose approval affects your mood and your peace? And this doesn't necessarily mean people when it says who or what. It's like, it's more of a what is what I'm trying to say. It's more of a what, because if I miss the gym, mood, peace, all out the window. And it needed to get to a point where that doesn't affect how my day goes. It may affect my energy level a little bit, because that's just science, but more so where it's like, okay, I know I can't make it today. God said you have other things to do. It's me first. And now if you don't have time for this thing, we got to move on to the other things that I need you to do. So now I wake up every morning, and instead of I got to do this, it's open eyes and, God, what are we doing today? And what he drops down in my spirit is what we're doing. And I can sit here and tell you, like, the shift, the way I feel is it's incredible, actually. It feels safe. It feels peaceful. I feel more joy. I feel more happy. Like, I made it to the gym or I didn't. Like, my body is not gonna suffer, especially because I've spent so many years like on it. My body's not gonna suffer because we missed this day. We have tomorrow. We have later on today. Like, there's just so many different ways you can think about it and pinpoint it. And so people make terrible gods because they're inconsistent. I'm gonna say that again. Everything in your life that isn't God is a terrible God, because none of it is consistent. God is the only thing in your life that's going to be consistently the same. That's how you're going to know that it's God, because it stays consistent. There's no change. There's no big change. There's no inconsistent patterns. It's literally, God is going to keep going like this. He's not going to go like this. Everything is going to stay consistent, and it's going to consistently grow. That's how you're going to know if something is from God or not. That's how you're going to know if that's exactly what God wants you to be doing and when he wants you to be doing it, because you're going to move and it's going to feel right. And then you're going to move and it's going to grow, and you're going to move and it's going to grow, and you're just going to keep going upward. There's not going to be too many ups and downs. Now, life will give you ups and downs, of course. Everything is not always peachy keen. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you will know that it's from God because it will be consistent. People fluctuate, things fluctuate, gyms close down and open up, like businesses shut down and open up. That's what I mean. Like, God is going to be the consistent thing in your life, whereas these other things, if you make a God out of it, you will be terribly disappointed because they're going to be inconsistent. All right, so now let's get into the cost of your unchecked validation. Basically, validation doesn't influence you, it limits you. Okay. It keeps you from your true self. It keeps you in a cycle of over explaining, anxiety when affirmation disappears. It replaces your trust in God with dependence on people and slowly distances you from your obedience. So if you don't do anything about this, if you don't start asking hard questions, if you don't really start digging deep and doing the work, this is basically going to be your life. You're going to be anxious, unsure of who you are, and you're going to definitely not be in alignment. Obedience is not even going to be a thing for you because you're going to be so far gone, so far into someone else's opinions about you, so far into needing reassurance from outside sources that you're not even going to know who you are, what you're supposed to be doing, or even what God's voice sounds like. Everybody else's is going to sound like the thing. This is where your self awareness meets your surrender. You have to surrender this thing over. You have to say, God, check my heart. What am I doing where I need other people before I need you? God, check my heart. Where is it that I'm putting other things ahead of my own self? Check my heart, okay? You have to check it for who or what do you need approval from the most? Then you want to ask, when you feel anxious, is it because affirmation or reassurance is missing from other people, from other things? Can you trust God's voice without external agreement? If God says yes and people say no, are you still at peace? That was what I had to ask myself about my birthday. If no one showed up, would I still be okay? Last year, no. This year, absolutely. I already have worked through understanding that I'm me and they're them, and I'm sitting down expectations of people, and I'm picking up the expectation of what God has for me. Always remember that conviction is not condemnation. It's an invitation for you to change. It's an invitation for you to grow. It's an invitation for you to invite God into the thing and put him ahead of it and let him lead and guide you. So I know people be feeling they condemn themselves. I'm like, you don't have to condemn yourself for being wrong. Like, everybody's wrong. We're all born in sin. Like, it happens. The point is that you pick yourself up and you move forward in it, but you move forward with God in the lead. Like, you're not leading yourself anymore. The result is not pushing people away, not talking about things, not having your girl chats and hitting it up with your boys. The goal is God's voice first, and then everyone else's. Because it's okay to seek out opinions. That's fine. You want to hash something out with somebody, that's fine. The thing is, that can't be what rules your world. That can't be the thing that tells you what to do and how to do it. It's more of a second opinion than the first. So, godly counsel is also a good thing. So I would say you got to get some God-fearing friends around you, first of all. Get into a good Bible teaching church. That's another thing. And make sure you keep good people who have God first in their lives around you, because that's how you know you can also trust what they're saying to you. Because 9 times out of 10, if they talking to God and you talking to God, he gonna tell them what you need to hear without even them knowing that it's what you needed to hear. They just gonna say it like, well, my spirit felt like, and then next thing you know, the key words come out their mouth and you're like, oh, heard you, God. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So it's like you're getting the confirmation you wanted without even asking for it. Okay. Public opinion completely last, if any. Okay. I was never really posting online for other people. I've always posted online for myself. But if I can sit here and truly say that I would post what people would have opinions on. Oh, you think this is good? You think I should move my content in this direction? No, that had to stop too. I had to have a conversation with God, because public opinion didn't matter. I needed to have a conversation with him. What do you want me to start posting? How am I showing up? Because God literally could have told me to stop showing up online, and I would stop showing up online because that would be what he wanted from me. He's like, that's not where I'm taking you. This is where I'm taking you. But the complete opposite happened. What he told me was, and he honestly just told me this like 2-3 weeks ago. He said, I need you to start showing up online more vulnerable. I need you to start showing up online as your true, authentic self. And I need you to start letting these people see what I'm working on in you, because there's somebody out there that's just like you. And they need you to tell them what I've been doing for you so that they can allow me to do it for them. And so I was like, all right, well, what we talking about? And it's scary. And it's so scary. It was so scary at first because you have, if you know me, you know me. But if you don't, I'm a young woman who, and yes, young, don't come for me. I'm a young woman who started out in this world from the bottom of the barrel. I'm from East New York, Brooklyn, from under a rock. Okay. My family doesn't come from anything. I am building something out of what I've been given. Okay. I have lived in fornication. I have done all the things, been in the clubs, all of it. I'm a teen mom, all of the things. Okay. Not the best person, manipulative, lying, cheating. Like I've done it all. I've done it all. I've also not been a really good person at one point in my life too. And God said, that's okay. We're going to talk about all of that. And he said, and we're going to show up and we're going to show up that in a way that's authentic to you. And there's going to be somebody out there who gets it. And when they get it, they get it. And that's the key. You're leading them back to me in whatever way that looks like. So I need you to get on here and be vulnerable. And I was just like, Lord have mercy. Fine. And honestly, finding my voice online has been fun. It's become so fun to me to sit here and talk about my seeking validation from the people around me. Ugh, it's been fun, but it's like, ew, girl, that's what you was doing? It's like, yeah, that's what I was doing. And hopefully you understand that you're not supposed to do it anymore either. So I hope that this helps somebody because encouragement should confirm your identity, not create it. It should be encouraging exactly who you are to step out into the light and say, hey guys, here I am in my fullness. Not create your identity because this person said this is how you're supposed to dress and look and do and be and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So now everything we talked about, what I want you to do is I want you to get realigned. I want you to realign yourself. I want you to sit back again, ask those hard questions. Who am I? Who am I listening to? What voices matter the most? Whose opinions matter the most? What am I doing to change that thing? How am I going to change that thing? And how am I going to love on me and be my best version of myself? Here's a journal prompt for you as well. What did God say versus what people think? So when you sit down and you start thinking about these things and you start writing out these things, I want you to ask yourself, what did God say versus what did people say? Or what did God say versus what people think? And then ask yourself which one is better. I guarantee you what God said is always going to be better. And so we need to release approval as a source, recenter our identity in God, and choose alignment over acceptance. That's it, and that is all. I really want you to sit down and reflect on this stuff. Don't rush yourself. This is a process. We're going for progress over perfection every single time. So don't rush it. Don't beat yourself up if you find yourself missing, missing the mark. Just pick yourself back up and realign, like get in alignment. As always, I want you to get in your Bible. I want you to get under a good Bible teaching church or a mentor. If church isn't your thing, that's okay. Find a Bible study online, find something online, but you need to be taught. But also spend quality time. Get in the book, but you need to spend time because if you're not spending time with him, you're not going to hear him. That's just what it is. You have to slow down and really start to listen and tap in. Once you do that, you'll trust everything that you'll trust everything that you hear in here because you'll know that if it's good, it's from God. Like it's really as simple as that. And so with that, I'd like to say that we are releasing the seeking of validation, whether it's from the public or it's from the people that you love, because you don't need them to tell you who you are. All you need is a good relationship with God and loving on yourself. And you'll understand exactly who you are and who he made you to be. So I love you guys and I thank you for tuning in. Remember, I'm changing the time. Let me tell you about that. So apparently my computer hates me. It hates me and it takes forever for things to upload. So I don't want to promise you something at 12 p.m. anymore. So I am moving everything back to 7 p.m. So Mondays, 7 p.m., every other Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch podcast episodes dropping on YouTube. what else? Oh, sorry. Thursdays at 7 p.m. You can catch our weekly vlog, XOXOQ Lynn. The podcast obviously is Truth Be Told, where real talk meets raw faith. They're both on the same YouTube page underneath two different playlists. So all you have to do is go to youtube.com/at XOQLYNN and you'll find everything you need there. But we're changing the time. Remember, every other Monday for the podcast, 7 p.m. and weekly on Thursday, 7 p.m. for the vlog. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting. I hope you come back. Apple and Spotify coming soon. I say that every vlog or every podcast because it is true. Apple and Spotify coming very soon. So keep an ear out for that. Make sure you turn on your notifications, subscribe, like, share with somebody who needs to hear this. And just remember that it is okay to be in a state of becoming. We are consistently becoming every day. Love you. Bye.